Todoroki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is my review for the McFarlane Toys 12-inch Todoroki figure. So this was another interesting release I found. I just recently covered the 5-inch figures, and I thought these were interesting toys I wanted to take a look at since I am a fan of the series, and I thought it was interesting to see these toys in the regular aisle rather than the sort of collector anime aisle, because they have, like I mentioned in the review previously, they have kind of like the details and look of more quote-unquote high-end figures, but sort of the fun factor of basic lines for kids. And so that's what this is. It's a 12-inch figure, so it's a lot taller, and it's kind of more statue-esque. But honestly, detail-wise, it's pretty good looking. I'm mainly just surprised because I talked about this a little bit in the 4-inch or the 5-inch figures review. But usually with these type of figures, they'll skimp on the details and they'll make it look as basic as possible because the main purpose is just for the fun of the gimmick. And that's totally fine, you know, and sometimes they can surprise you with how decent they look for what they are. But this one honestly looks like a pretty solid statue. The obvious parts that are going to bother people is like the clear plastic here. A lot of people that are more collectors will probably want sort of a painted look, and like the battery pack here and the on-off switch. It is nice you have an on-off switch though, so the batteries don't drain as fast if you're using that. But if you can look past that, you know, if you're someone that likes fun and wants something on display, it's pretty solid. And I think kids will obviously like this. And as I mentioned in my previous review, I think what's interesting about this is that, you know, before I started collecting when I was younger and got toys, I did obviously like fun stuff like this, but I also liked the toys to look good. So I think that's kind of an interesting sweet spot for these. But you press the button, and you get some lights and sounds. And it'll show up a little bit better in the dark, obviously. I'll try to cut away and do some nighttime footage so you can sort of see how that looks. Pretty simple. It's nothing too extravagant. There's not a whole lot of different voices or voices. There's no voices. But there's not a whole lot of different noises, just basic ones, and they light up. But kids will get a kick out of it. That's sort of what it's for. But if you're a collector and you want something that's not that high of a price and you don't mind the way this honestly looks pretty solid on the shelf. They got the details nice, the sculpt is nice, it looks fairly accurate, kind of like the 5-inch figures. And if you can look past this, or hell, even embrace it if you like that, you know, kind of like with the Godzilla figure I got recently from the Godzilla vs. Kong line. Like, it honestly looks pretty solid on the shelf, but I get a kick out of pressing the button and seeing the spikes light up, and that can kind of be this type of figure too. For some collectors that don't mind this, it looks like a solid figure on the shelf, but then when you pass by, you get some fun light up noises, and it's kind of harmless. And I think kids will get a kick out of it too. And so far, just from what I've seen from this line, it's not like I'm blown away or anything, but I think it's an interesting line that I appreciate between this and the basic figures, where it's something that's kind of more reasonably priced, that kids can get into, but they're also very nice looking figures. Because as I've said, in recent years with a lot of toy lines I paid attention to, it kind of is degraded in quality in terms of the regular line, where they think like, well, kids aren't even going to notice if this isn't fully painted. And I'm not saying all of them need to be fully painted, but some of them are kind of embarrassing, and they kind of go for more of the fun over the look, which is fine, but I think this is kind of a cool marriage of both. And I think it's an interesting figure worth taking a look at potentially, if this is up your alley in either way. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.